to Wearing Android. We're going to explore the Android Wear SDK this afternoon. My name is Benjamin Gramlich. You can find me on Twitter at RedWolf and GitHub at RedWolf, where the source code for the demo will be. I'm making mistakes. What the? I'm a software developer at Livefront, where we do mobile and web design and development. And this spring I'm teaching a class at Smart Factory. I'm doing an introduction to Android. It starts in May on May 12th, or May 13th, and we have an introduction to iOS class starting on May 12th as well, if you're interested in learning either of those. Today we're going to go over how to set up the SDK and a little bit about what Android Wear entails. We're going to talk about the design of the individual notifications and some of the design guidelines around that. And then we'll look at some code and how to implement those things. So first we'll talk about this. This is the Moto 360. This is the reference platform for the Android Wear SDK. It will be coming out this summer. We don't really know any of the specifications or the details about that at this time, but we might see more as at Google I/O. Right now the SDK is just a developer preview, so a lot of it could change and a lot of functionality still hasn't been implemented yet. But the core of the Android Wear platform right now is just notifications, and so it really is just tied to the phone, and unlike the Pebble, there's no ability to run apps on it independently as of yet. So in order to set up the SDK, the first thing you have to do is sign up for the developer preview from Google, and then install the Android Wear system image onto your computer. And then we set up an Android Wear emulator. And that's just done through the interface there. And we start that up then. And then you have to go into the Play Store, and unfortunately, you can't see on the screen, but there's another application that you need that runs on the phone that sends all of the notifications that you get on your phone to the emulator. And you can only get that once you've been accepted into the SDK, or into the developer preview. And once this gets started up, you'll see here there's a little notification icon showing that there is not a device connected. And so on the device, we start this, and then we get it into the connecting mode, and we have to forward the ports through. And then once that happens, we can send notifications to the emulator. And that's pretty much it as far as setting that up goes. In order to use the SDK in your project, you need to download the library and include that as well. This is the core of the view on the phone, or on the wearable device, and this is what's called the context stream, and this is where notifications are going to show up. And as you can see, it's a vertical list of cards, very similar to the Google Now system, and the users swipe vertically to switch between the cards, and then horizontally to get into actions or dig into more functionality that's available. This is an example of a cue card, or the cue card functionality. And this extends the platform and allows you to interact more with the phone. And this is very similar to the Google Now voice interaction. And it listens for the OK Google, pops that up, and then allows you to do voice commands that are similar to these things. And the cool thing is here is that Google is going to eventually allow us as developers to tie into the intents that the Wear device can generate, such as call me a cab, so that if you have like Uber, you can say to your watch, call me a cab, and it'll pop up the Uber app, and you can interact with it there. As we develop these, we want these to be contextually aware so that we are timely, relevant, and specific. We want to display information at the right time without taking the user's attention. And we want them to be glanceable. As you can see, you just have an icon for the forecast or for the current the current conditions and the temperature, and you're not doing too much else. You want 0 to low interaction. So when a notification comes in, you don't want the user to have to tap through to see the contents of that notification, but rather you want to know who it's from and what the content of the message is. And you want it to be helpful. You don't want to bother the user with too much information. You don't want to vibrate the Wear device and annoy the user with that. So there's two types of notifications, and the one is the active notifications, which vibrate the Wear device, and those would be used for things like notifications from a friend or appointment reminders. Whereas if you get like a Facebook notification, you wouldn't want to necessarily vibrate the user's wrist every time that happens. This is what the notification looks like. You can see there's a couple different components to it. The background image is very similar to what you'd see in the shade on the left side if you got a text message. The application icon is provided there for free by the system. Some messages may not fit onto a single screen, and the user is given the ability to tap on that, and it expands, and then they can scroll that to read the full contents of that message. Additionally, we can provide additional actions to be executed with each notification. So you can define this. This can be application defined. Here we see a reply notification or reply action, which would allow the user to tap on that and either speak a reply message or it would open up the app in some way. The Wear SDK design guidelines suggest that when you are designing your notifications, that you use the application icon as your branding and don't use those background images that are available to talk about or to communicate what application the notification comes from, but rather to use that to communicate information about the message itself. So use that notification that you see there, the yellow sticky note, that's where it's placed. Use that to brand your notifications. Notifications can also have pages, so if you have more information than you need, or than can fit on one card, you can show multiple pages, and the user just swipes to the left to see those. So you see that example there. Additionally, if you have multiple notifications per application, you can stack all of those and group them so that they don't clutter up the context stream. And then when the user swipes up, they see all the notifications from one application in one place. And then if you tap on that, they expand a little bit, and then you can see, and then you can scroll vertically to see individual ones, and then if you tap on those individual ones, they expand completely, and then you can scroll those or swipe left to get to individual or more actions available to each one of those, or pages. So these are all full-fledged notifications themselves, but they just appear in groups initially in the context stream. This is an example of the input screen. We're able to provide up to 5 default responses when we want to get input from the user. And these should be just short, quick answers, but the user can also speak at this screen, and it will fill out as they speak and as it identifies what they're saying. However, if the user says a lot, those will just be automatically truncated, as you can see there. We'll dive into some of the code that runs this. This is what a basic notification looks like without any Wear-specific functionality built in. And by default, all of the notifications that you generate on the phone will be pushed to the Wear device. And so just really quick, you create a pending intent, which is an action that will be sent to the phone once the user clicks on the action. Just create the notification, and then we send it to the notification manager there. Let's see what this looks like on the emulator. So this is that notification there. It just shows up. This is just a little app I wrote to demonstrate all this. It contains some pithy quotes. And so that notification shows up and looks like this. Some more text. So we click on that, and it expands. If there was even more, you'd be able to scroll that vertically to see all of the content there. The pending intent that we set on the notification becomes the action open, and this is the content pending intent. So it'd be very similar to when you pull down the shade in Android and you just click on that notification. This would do the exact same thing. So you click on that, and it just opens the intent or sends the intent to the phone and does whatever the phone application would do. So in this case, if we click on that, it would open up an activity that would just show that quote on the phone. Yes?
So, by default, sending all your notifications to Twitter, you don't have anything loaded, especially in the Twitter.
Nope.
So when you pull on the shade, sometimes there's options to do things to those messages directly. So like my duo built-in, I can block that automatically.
We'll get to that. Okay. It's coming up. Good question. It's actually the next thing. So we can define actions. And this is, again, this still isn't anything that's Wear specific. It's just that it appears differently on the Wear device. And so we add an action there. And this was just what Jeremy was talking about, that you can define different actions that you can take on a notification. And so here we've defined an action that when we send it to, when we have a quote, we can define this action and ask the application to send us another quote. So the action shows up. We can swipe to reveal the notification shows up, and we can swipe to reveal the action. We click on the action, and ostensibly nothing happens, but if we clear this notification, we can see that there's another notification. And this was just after tapping on that, the phone sent another notification out to the device. We can also make our notifications a little bit prettier and add background images to them. This is the big text style that you see often now on the notifications that are in the shade. And again, we're still not doing anything Wear specific. This is all code that you would have written previously. It's just that it'll look different on the Wear SDK. So you create a new style and you add your text to that. And then on your notification builder, you set the icon that you want to be the background, and you add that style, and then you send the notification out to the system. And that looks like this. As you can see, that the background image shows up there, and a blur effect is added to it. The image itself is rather crisp, and on the phone it's crisp, but the Wear SDK and the emulator blurs that out for us. And it creates a little bit of a parallax effect. And then as you scroll right and left, you can see it kind of pans it a little bit. This is where we start to get into some of the things that are Wear specific. As we noted before, a notification can have multiple pages, and this is how this is built. Each page itself is an individual notification. So to create that, we create a new instance of a builder, and build it. There's a lot of code that's truncated here. And then we use a wearable notifications builder to wrap our compat builder and then add the pages to it. There's no limit to the amount of pages that we can add to a notification. Although it's suggested that if you have actions on a notification, that you try to keep it to a minimum of, say, 3, so that a user can easily get to the actions in just a few swipes on their wrist. So this is the notification with pages example. Here we don't have any actions that you can take. It's just multiple pages. You can also define notifications that are stacks. And as we talked about, those are groupings of similar notifications, notifications all from one application that appear as a single item in the context string but can be expanded if desired and explored individually. Again, each of the items in the stack is its own independent notification that can have independent actions and multiple pages if desired. So in order to create that, we again create an instance of the compat builder and then wrap that builder in a wearable notifications builder and set its group identification. The first parameter in the setGroup method is a string that names the group that it belongs to. And the second parameter is optional, but that defines the order of that notification within the stack itself. And when you do create a stack, if you want it to show up, you need to include a summary notification that has a special order summary parameter, which is it's an int itself. But it's what would show up on the phone when you send this stack out. So as you can see, these are a stack of notifications. Click on them to expand, and we can scroll through them. And if we want to click on an individual run to read more, we can do that. And then if there were additional pages or actions, we could just swipe right to see more of those. So as I mentioned, you can receive voice input from the Wear device, and it's done this way when you create a special remote input builder and set a label on that and a set of choices. And this is just an array of strings, and there's a maximum of 5 that's allowed. And then you append that to the notification with the notifications builder wrapper. And you can have different inputs for each action or for the default content intent that you set. So in this example, we're just using the default content intent, but there is another method on this builder object that allows you to add a remote input for each action in the set of actions. Oh, I don't have an example for that one. And that's my talk. Do you have any questions? Yes.
The notifications, that's familiar from the window shade. Are you able to do anything akin to Google
No,
now?
not right yet. But we'll be able to integrate with through the intents, so we'll be able to hopefully handle intents like the Google Now intents. So, Jesse?
I know this sort of just recently came out. Are there any dates that they've announced yet around when some devices might be available or when they may lock down the SDK at all yet?
Well, the Moto X or Moto 360 is imminent. They say summer 2014. My best guess is probably Google I/O because it makes sense. So I imagine we'll see some of that then, but we still don't really know anything about that device, so it's kind of difficult to play with. I will mention, I forgot to mention this, the screen resolutions for the devices that we're dealing with, for the emulator, the Square Wear device has a resolution of 280 by 280, and curiously the Circle one has a resolution of 320 by 320 pixels. So, somebody else had a question?
It's pretty straightforward to get the regular Android emulator talking to the Wear emulator. You can just back and forth.
Actually, you can't do that right now. You have to have a device connected through USB and then have that special Android Wear preview app on your phone in order to be able to do that. So, there's another, yes?
So all the code that you wrote, is that all code that's running on the phone itself, or are these apps that you push to the device?
All,
Is there any app that you push to the device?
no, not yet. We might not see that ever. This is just an appendage to the phone. So all of the code runs on the phone. It just sends notifications out and then receives intents from that. So, any other questions? All right, thank you.